To those who have been on a reality show or game show, what really happens? How much editing is really done? My buddy won the showcase thing on Price is Right. Pretty straight up from what he said. Bob Barker days. Yes, they filmed the whole show from start to finish in about an hour. They only stopped once. Briefly, at the taping I attended to do some of the voice work over, for prize descriptions. This was a few months ago. I was on The Price is Right. They cut out one thing I said to Drew. Other than that it was pretty straightforward. I won $51,000 in prizes. It's the showcase showdown. You uncultured swine. I have already posted this from an old account long time ago. I auditioned for Wipeout. They were only interested in people that acted literally insane. Are you ready to go crazy? I'm already hearing voices. You're hired. Don't get eliminated. I did wonder whether it was just the kind of people who applied for Wipeout act like that. Or if it's encouraged by the production team. Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm our assistant from Barsley. Probably isn't as exciting as. Look at me, I'm a dinosaur giraffe, I suppose. Did you act insane? I am friends with a former Big Brother contestant. My daughter interviewed her for a class project and this subject came up in the interview. She mentioned a specific incident where they took footage from a conversation 2 days prior and inserted it into the middle of another conversation to play up the romance angle. During a competition something happened and they had to pause the competition and fix a problem that was causing them to fall behind. She made a comment like, "God wants this for me, nothing big." 2 days later she asked the guy she had been partnered with for a shoulder/neck massage, because he had promised her one if they had won the competition. In the TV broadcast they spliced in her "God wants this for me" comment to make it sound like she believed they were destined to be a couple. She said there were lots of incidents like this, where they mix and match different conversations to push the story they are building for each of the contestants. That's called Frankenstein editing. And happens a lot in reality shows. I'd be terrified to be on this kind of show. The producers can make you sound naggy, or crazy or nerdy all at their whim. It's awful. Sounds like Hunger Games. They mention stuff like that a lot in the books. As a massive BB fan, I am really curious who that was. Cracked.com had an interview with kids that were on a reality show. Back when Cracked was good. The concept was that the kids ran a town with no adults around. All the kids started swearing with less adult supervision. When the producers decided which kid they wanted the audience to hate, they played his normal speech with the swears bleeped. For the other kids they carefully edited around the swearing. So to the audience, most of the kids were being polite except for this one jerk who swore a lot. Kid Nation. I miss when Cracked was good. I think they do that with every reality show. I used to wonder about it. Phil Robertson said, "They did that for the first season of Duck Dynasty. The cast was unaware until the show came out. They asked them to stop. I never trust the bleeps." I was on Double Dare in 1986 when Nickelodeon was still based in Philadelphia. There was not much editing going on. If I remember right, they were shooting 4 episodes a day. So it was pretty fast-paced. We got an intro in the ready room, and then it was mostly live. We even did the commercial breaks like it was live. My team won the episode and got to the obstacle course, and we were already blown out by the time it started. If you watch the video, you can see Mark Summers drag me through a couple obstacles. It was an amazing blur. And no, we didn't get the trip to Disney World. I think we only finished 6 of 8. Double Dare was my favorite show when I was kid. On a trip to Universal Studios in Florida one time, my brother got slimed and I was completely jealous. That was a trip down memory lane to watch. Just seeing the prizes was fun. The host just pushed and pulled you through the obstacle course though, lol. I was on Naked and Afraid. You are in a real survival situation while out there, but not as far out as you'd think. We could hear trucks drive by occasionally. The production crew was really great and there wasn't any bullshit happening where they fabricated things either. If stuff happened and they didn't get it on film, we would have to reenact it, so they had footage for the show. I also need to know what's up with the miracle protein that always seems to get caught in like the last 2 days just in time to have energy for extraction. You need to do an AMA. I watched the she-eyes out of that show and that's badass to read about someone with first-hand experience. I heard from a Big Brother contestant that there is a clause in the contract that they can be sued if they speak about production and what goes on in the diary room. That should be a tell that production does influence the game / edit it the way they want. As a big fan of the show, they do get caught talking about production plenty of times. And Big Brother comes over the loudspeaker and tells them, "You are not allowed to talk about production." Every single reality show is semi-scripted. They induce events then let it play it out. People are chosen based on their personalities and how well they can play up the scenarios they are given. You really think these multi-million-dollar shows is just put people in a room and record them? My husband and I were on a documentary about how communication has changed over the years for people in the military. Being able to talk to spouses and such. One part they were interviewing me and apparently I didn't look sad enough, so they told me to think of him being gone, etc., and to stare off in the distance. We did this 3 times. Jackie Cooper is before most of our time. But he was a child actor a long time ago. He was in The Little Rascals, as well as movies. They told him his dog had just died in order to make him cry. I read his autobiography. Gee, sounds like a great time. I was at a party with a lady who did makeup for a reality show. She told us about a guy whose job it was to make contestants cry. He would get told who needed to cry, then go talk to them for a little while, and by the time he was walking away the contestant would be in tears. I'm guessing he was a producer who had a specialty, but I've often wondered if there is a secret profession dedicated to making TV contestants cry. Like a cooler but for crying. If you're a producer who can get people to cry, you will never lack for work. It's a special talent. This is actually what they do. You should watch Unreal. It's a fictional show written by an ex-producer of The Bachelor that did that, about producers who have to do those things and how they cause mayhem. Addictive and horrifying. My teacher was put on one of those house hunter shows. He told us that he picked out his house beforehand and they then pretended to show him 2 other houses. So the whole thing is BS. Explains so much. My parents and I watch House Hunters together. And there are instances where one of the houses shown is objectively better than the others. It's got quirks and flaws, but in a way that's much more minimal than the other house. 9/10 we bet on that house being the winner. It isn't. The buyers make some case about how another house is so much better. And that the 30-minute commute on the one my family thought would be chosen just isn't worth it. Now, it makes sense. They already bought a house and the production team did too good of a job picking the competition. That explains how these married couples can nitpick problems without blowing up at each other. I was on Judge Judy in 2006. I was the defendant. JJ really is as mean as she appears. She's also much shorter than you think. Before they tape your episode they have some assistant run between the plaintiff and defendant's green rooms saying, "Oh, they just said this about you," in an effort to amp you up before you tape your episode. The set is very small. When my episode aired, they had chopped it up quite a bit. There were times JJ asked me a question that I answered while there. But what aired was just a shot of me standing there looking like a moron that had no answer. It was definitely designed to make me look worse than it was. But I got a free 5-day vacation. $1,000 in cash. And the show paid the judgment, $3,500. So I figure I made about $7,000 to make a somewhat ass out of myself on TV for 11 minutes. Would do again. Footnote: that night after taping, we got drunk in the Viper room. Found JJ's star on the Walk of Fame and peed on it. Have met her socially. Her TV personality is her off-screen personality. 3/10 would not party with again. To follow up on this, court shows will have a prompter under the participants' podium. And the producers will put up notes for them. Usually a few words to cue them to make a point or something. They can make the text flash and stuff. Also, they absolutely get sliced and diced in editing. I worked at a studio that brought in a syndicated judge show for 3 months. Then that studio was closed for the HD upgrade. The judge shows just went all day. Bagging cases. Non-stop. The volume of shows they made was kinda impressive. And most people I'd see hanging out by the elevators seemed to know that the generous appearance fees they earned relied on hamming up the drama.